First of all, on groups, I use three kinds of groups during the semester. And so I agree with Heather in terms of the wealth of research on the benefits of stable groups. That's not limited to education. However, from an organizational standpoint, groups are increasingly dynamic. And, Bobby's going to talk about Agile. The use of Agile projects in organizations increases the likelihood that people will be on a significant number of short-term projects with lots of different people. And Amy Edmondson at Harvard, who's done a lot of the pioneering work on psychological safety, which is so important to inclusion, also wrote some of the seminal work on both virtual teams and short-term teams. She has a book, Teaming, and multiple articles on it. And so I think it is very important for students to learn how to work with different groups of people. And I use the class as a way to do that. So on the first project, before the first day of class, I have the students complete a survey. It includes the context that they're interested in studying and working when they graduate. It includes questions on their skill set in some critical tools that we will be using in the class. And then it includes a ranking of 1 to 5 for their fear factor for the course content. And so I form groups that reflect common interest in context. And then I do a weighted average of experience with the tools and fear, so that I don't have a group that is going to excel, because part of the role of group work is that peer teaching. We learn so much when we teach someone else. And as a more novice learner, we learn so much when we hear it in the words of someone who is in a comparable level. So I start the class with an assigned groups. Prior to this year, when I had to pivot, and my class was a hybrid class, and so I had roughly 40 to 60% of the students in each modality in each class. I had international students, some who arrived in the middle of the semester. So just lots of different dynamics, but the who was in person changed every week. And so and normally the first two projects are the assigned groups. And the third project is the one where they get to choose what group they want to be in. This year, I did assigned groups for the first project, but then I gave students flexibility for the second and third. What was most interesting was the overlap between the assigned groups and the subsequent groups. There was significant overlap. And so some members were new, but students frequently chose to stick with the people that they had worked with. So that was interesting.